How's it going, YouTube? Alright. So, as promised, this is the second part review of the game. Now, the reason it took me so long, honestly, is just in these kind of games, I like to take my time and play these games. I love to explore. For purposes basically not spoiling this video, I'm not going to have the whole entirety of the game itself, because I don't want to spoil it for everyone else. However, I have finished this game. I'm actually starting on my second right now, because this game basically is one of the is like any other RPG, pretty much. Like most of the RPGs, majority of them, where they give you options. You have to basically options of doing different choices. Uh, but yeah, I'll move on. So with the different options on there, obviously the game changes in every sense on that. The game itself is very beautiful. It has beautiful landscapes, beautiful everything on there, beautiful landscapes and backgrounds on. One of the things actually I noticed early on in the game is in the map itself is it's a dynamic map actually. Well, partially dynamic map. The way you notice that actually is one of my friends pointed that out when we were both playing it at the very beginning. And when you look at the map, parts of that you've opened and that you've discovered, you get to see actually moving objects or moving characters on there. One of the ones, for example, was the bosses, the world bosses in this game that they, essentially when you need to progress through the story itself. The other part is, for example, when you discover certain NPCs, they appear on the map as both like an interactive dynamic map, but also as a waypoint to where you can locate certain parts of the map where you met them and everything. And that in itself, actually, I like it. It's very helpful because having names basically on the maps is one thing. It's good. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, I can read. But when you have an interactive map to where they pinpoint certain NPCs and they're actually moving in the map, it just makes that map more lively, in my opinion. Let's see. Yeah. The one of the things I thoroughly enjoyed in this game is the combat. The combat system is actually lots of fun. It reminds me of if anyone actually has played this, Kingdoms of Amalur. The combat is non-scripted. And while boss fights in this game are sort of scripted, every other fight is non-scripted, and I love that. You can telegraph certain moves and see them when you fighting certain big things, like for example, just earlier when I was fighting that molten fire thing. But what's not scripted is how you can approach it and how you can actually defeat them. I thoroughly enjoyed that. One of the major things about this game is that they don't restrict you on how to approach any situation and how to defeat even major bosses. You can defeat them in any form, any fashion. You can approach them any kind of way you like. As you can tell, obviously, too, they're not shy about basically giving you loot. If there's many things wrong with this game, one of the things they did right is they are more than generous on giving you all the materials that you need for whatever reason. On top of that, you can actually deconstruct most of the other materials for both currency and or parts. And that's actually one of the cool things I like about these kind of games is that RPG games, I like them so much because they tend to basically give you all the tools and just tell you go crazy, have some fun, let your imagination go crazy on that. As far as I can tell, there's been only one other game that done that in many ways, and that was Kingdoms of Amalur, as I stated that earlier. Uh, and yes, just in case if you're gonna ask me, if anybody's gonna actually ask, I have actually bought that remastered version. I still have it right now. I've been playing it too. This game itself, like I said, gives you all the tools necessary for any kind of situation. That's what I thoroughly enjoy about this game. Uh, Traversing in this game is the different landscapes and different levels is amazing too. The level design on this I thoroughly enjoy because there's so many different environments. I mean, this environment, for example, is all firing everything, and fighting with a specific type of element actually helps you. As you can tell, every time I'm fighting this molten thing, I keep using ice abilities, and it actually does help the situation. Not only is it good for crowd control, but it's also good to specifically for them because obviously it's the opposite of the element. Combat in this game is actually very enjoyable, very satisfying. It's a hack and slash, but it does actually have some depth as well. As you can tell, the different attacks that I'm implementing right now while I'm fighting these things. Yes, as you can tell on there. On top of that, it's the elemental effects that you can actually put on your attack. Oh, okay, I just got body slammed. Yeah, as you can tell, I keep basically doing the whole poison thing and he starts throwing up. I'm not really sure how a molten beast like that would throw up, but that's a thing in this game. But yeah, moving on. So, the level design on this game is very beautiful. And as you can tell, obviously from different environments, and you just can't help but just to sit there and just appreciate the whole entire moment of it. And oh, there you go, the loot right now. As you can tell, they're not shy about giving you all the tools and let you go crazy with creativity. And on that, honestly, just because of that, I thoroughly love this. Much like any other RPGs, there's obviously a lot of interaction with the characters, as you can tell right now. One of the early things actually about this game, my friend again, by the way, his name is Kukokubo. He's also a YouTuber. Go follow him too. I'll have his link on this video description. There's plenty of different interactions with the characters. And this is a bit of a double-edged sword for some of the people because sometimes people don't like this, sometimes people love this. I usually like to think I like to toe the line in the middle. I'm a more of a balance, you know. I like it and sometimes don't like it, you know, depending obviously on the situation. But as you can tell, pretty much the whole entire game revolves around interacting with different characters and choices that you make on that. And as you can tell, choices is dependent on what you choose. Being a good guy, bad guy, in the middle, you know. Yeah. These two, you actually meet them on earlier in the game. And every time you make a choice, it gets old. It gets old. But it's just fun sometimes. I like to choose one side, but sometimes I also like to tell them, you know, like, hey, shut up. And you just love to hear basically what they had to say. Another good thing about this game is the fact that you can traverse in this game in many different modes. Earlier in the first video, you saw me riding a mech, and that actually helps you when you're in the different environment where there's a lack of oxygen. And later on, you actually meet this, I'm assuming it's a billy goat, I'm not sure. And you end up actually saving it from one of the main bad guys. And I guess for appreciation, he or she lets you ride it and help you, I guess, in your quest. I'm assuming. I have no idea. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. I have no idea. Yeah, another mode actually is you get a jet ski, and that actually it's kind of fun. One of the fun things about both the traversal modes is that you can actually call them anytime, anywhere. Well, obviously, you'd have to call the jet ski when it's on water. But yeah, but the other cool thing is if you remember where you place last in each and every one of them, and you want to go back, they don't despawn. They actually still stay there in that area. Uh, yes, and so okay, so I've told you basically everything I do love about this game. Now I'm gonna tell you what I didn't like. Now, don't take what I'm saying as any sort of negative connotation that I don't like about this game. Far from it. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this game a lot, actually. So much so that I want to play it a second time right now, obviously. So, well, we'll start with the conversation since we're on the scene right now with the whole conversation. Now, I'm all for talking and interacting with the characters. What really irks me in this game is every single conversation. Every freaking single conversation sounds like a philosophical discussion. And I'm not even talking about the main characters you talk to and everything else. I'm good for that. I'm all for that. You know, it's fun to listen to, especially the certain terminologies they use, like the moving pictures for TV and stuff like that. However, when it comes to me talking just to a total stranger, or for example on a side quest, please just tell me exactly what you want. I don't want every single main NPC being a major philosophy in majors. Okay. With that, I would be okay with that if it didn't drag along so much more. Granted, that latter of the points right now is that I tend to basically try to prolong it by asking every different question just to see different outcomes. So you can blame that one on me, I guess you could say. Not really, whatever. But that's one of the things. It got somewhat irritating later on in the game. Not so much early on. It's more of a later on, and it's it's fine, honestly. Uh, if you're just gonna keep wanting to listen, because one of the major points is like these kind of games. It's a story. And it's an interactive story where you're the main focal point, and you're shaping the course of the story. So on that, take it with a grain of salt. You might like it. I like it to a certain point, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Just me personally, my opinion. Like I said, I'm not. Just me personally on that. I'm not an expert. I'm not a critic or anything like that. I'm just like everyone else, honestly. I'm just a simple gamer, and I have a simple enjoyment in the games. It's small things and simple things that actually I enjoy about these games. Another thing that really irritates me is that they have a great crafting system. Unfortunately, there are some things you can't craft, and one of the things is, for example, the hand-to-hand combat weapons, which is this class I chose on there. You can craft almost anything except for that, and the only way you can get a new set of hand weapons or hand like gloves, whatever you want to call them, is if you do a quest, and that's it. Nothing beyond that, and that kind of actually bothered me because if you're gonna create an RPG and a great crafting system, you should actually include everything on there, especially if it's per type of class type of weapon. Uh, so that being said, that's pretty much what really irks me. Now my next point: polish in this game. I wish they would have polished it a little bit more, but at the same time, I feel like that's part of one of the charms of this game, that it's not the art style of itself. Kind of adds to the charm of the game itself. So take that with a grain of salt too. If you don't feel like that's a good thing, that's up to you. Now that's just something basically from me. I believe it should have been polished a little bit longer, but at the same time, since this game was on a Kickstarter, that being said, it's an amazing game that it was just on a Kickstarter and it lacks little polish. That doesn't take away from the fact that the game is beautiful nonetheless. I still enjoyed it, obviously. I'm not criticizing it, well, I am criticizing, obviously, but I'm not hating on it, is what I'm trying to say. Honestly, those are the only points I have on this game, good and or bad. Now, whether there's a review, I'm not the type to basically equate it or quantify it with a number. I don't really like doing that. Um, is this game worth playing? Oh yes, God. If you're into these kind of games and just kind of passing the time, this game has so much to offer. So many hours to waste on it. Well, not waste on it, to cherish on it, I used to say. But I think it's very worth getting and playing. Especially if you're just gonna get like the simple version, which obviously is not what I did. Hey, I'm a gamer. What can you expect? I bought the collector's edition. Other than that, honestly, that's what I feel about this game. I think it's actually worth playing if you ever do choose to actually get it. Uh, with that being said, enjoy the small amount of scenes that I have on this video. Live long and stay geeky. Until next time.